Good morning, everybody. Hello. I'm not sure how many are joining us yet this morning, but if you are here, you are very, very welcome to this live launch of the PlayShapers and TPAS Net Zero Week. My name is Jenny Osborne. I'm the Chief Executive of TPAS, and I'd like you now to introduce you to Rachel.
Morning, everyone. I'm Rachel Orr. I'm the Chief Executive of PlayShapers.
Excellent. We're quite nervous, aren't we, Rachel, about doing a live launch on YouTube? You tell people. So this is great. Like I say, I'm not sure how many are watching, but it's great to start this week off. In a moment, I'm going to run you through some of the events that we've got on this week and how you can get involved with those events, both joining the events and social media. So we'll come back to me then. But first, I'm going to hand over to Rachel, who's going to talk to us a little bit more about some of the background to how we've arrived here today doing this week.
Thank you, Jenny, and good morning, everyone. So in February of this year, PlayShapers and TPAS conducted 3 focus groups with residents from across England. We spoke to over 100 residents over the 3 sessions to just really start to build a bit of a picture about what people knew about the climate emergency and net zero, and what the impact of the heating in our homes had on that. We had some fascinating conversations and found that residents had such a span of knowledge from people who were kind of experts on the nuclear industry and asking us all kinds of questions that we couldn't even begin to answer, to people saying, I haven't heard anything about this, but I feel like it's something I should know more about. And we'd wanted to do those focus groups because we were aware about how big a challenge meeting net zero is for the social housing sector. And we knew that lots and lots of people were starting to think about, well, what's the tech? What are we going to use? How much does it cost? How are we going to pay for all this? But actually, the bit of the discussion we didn't think was happening was, what do people think about this? What do residents know? What do communities think? What's the impact going to be? And what are we going to need to be engaging with people about? What are we going to need to be talking to people about? And what's the impact going to be for individuals and the homes that they live in? So those focus groups were a fascinating insight, as I say, both about people's knowledge and awareness, but we were also able to have some conversations about, okay, so if over the course of the next 20 years, we're going to change the heating system in your home, what do you expect in terms of the conversation that you're having with your landlord and with other people about that? What's your level of knowledge? What's your neighbours, your friends, your children's level of knowledge? And whose responsibility do you think it is, both to kind of increase that knowledge where it needs to be increased, but also to answer all those other questions you're going to have about the disruption, about how you're going to pay for it, about what it's going to do to your electricity bills, and actually about how this fits into that much, much bigger picture about the change that the whole country is going to go through between now and 2050 as we move to a much kind of greener, cleaner economy. After we published a report summarising those focus groups, which made a series of recommendations, we had some really fantastic conversations and challenge back, both from the tenants who attended those focus groups, from other stakeholders across the sector, and from PlayShapers members, social landlords. And what we heard again and again from people was, I mean, we've literally just scratched the surface on this, and we need to just keep talking about it far more. There's such a communications awareness raising job that we need to start on now. We've got such a journey to travel, but we need to start now. So we convened a small group of experts who know an awful lot about sustainability and net zero, and some of the residents who were part of those focus groups, to think through what we as PlayShapers and TPAS could do next. And one of the key things people said was, we just need to create more spaces where people can come together and both learn about what some organisations have done and what the benefits or impacts have been for residents, but also just to understand this whole agenda far more. What is net zero? What are the politics of it? What are politicians doing? What are people doing? So that's the purpose of this week, really. We hope that we've got a really varied programme of events. We're hoping that there's people with a whole range of expertise, from people who are experts at being social housing residents to people who are experts at communication or experts about heat pumps. And the events are free and open to everybody. And we hope it's just the next step, really, in continuing the conversation and the kind of learning and engagement for all of us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rachel. God, that was great, wasn't it? That was a whip through. Forget how much we've talked about and done, don't we, since we started earlier on this year from those initial conversations.
Once you look back on it, we've
wow,
done a bit.
Yeah, certainly have. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everyone that's been part of that. So just left to me for a couple of minutes, really, just to whiz you through the week and just some logistics for the week, just so everyone's clear. As Rachel said, all the events this week are absolutely free to attend. For anybody that wants to come along, and we really, really would urge you to kind of speak to people all this week and tell people about the sessions, your work colleagues, your neighbours, your communities, anybody you're working with, contractors, everybody. We really do want to have everyone come along, so do spread the word wide and far. All the events will also be on Zoom. The majority of them will be on Zoom, on the Zoom platform. We hope that's good for most people. Just want to draw your attention first, before I run through the others, is to on Wednesday, we are actually holding an in-person event at Trafford Hall, which many of you will know, the National Communities Resource Centre at Trafford Hall near Chester. And this is intended to be a day for tenants to come along and have these discussions that Rachel mentioned. What's important to you? What does this agenda look like? What more do you want to know? What are your asks of the sector, etc.? That's going to be facilitated by Tim Morton, who many of you will know from many years of working at Trafford Hall. You'll have been to sessions with him. There are still some places available for that. It's 11 till 3, absolutely free to attend. Please do book on with that if you want to. We'd love to see a few more of you there in person. Gosh, in person, back to those again. Looking back to the programmes on Zoom, we've got Lucy Heath coming up, and she's going to take us through a very fast-paced session on some key facts, really, just to set you up for the week. We will record that session and we'll have it available all week. So if you miss it, it's not a problem, but it will just be a fast-paced information session to get us all to a certain point. So I'm looking forward to that. And that will immediately be followed at 11 o'clock today by a perspective panel with chief executives, senior leaders from the sector. How are we going to lead our organisations to net zero? Huge challenge, not least around funding, but obviously we want to talk in particular about what the impact on residents will be. So it's going to be a great Q&A session at 11 o'clock today. And then running through the week, we're running a couple of sessions each day. Tomorrow, if you're interested in knowing what's going on in the wider sector, what is everybody else doing? So people like Northern Housing Consortium are coming to talk. Orbit, Chartered Institute of Housing, TPAS Playshapers will be talking tomorrow. A great get yourself up to speed session. And then a very popular one tomorrow afternoon, I have to say. I think it's the most popular one so far. What a surprise. Demystifying the tech. There's so many words being thrown around, isn't it, that none of us understand. So it'd be a great session to hear some of that and talk to people around that. And I'm really delighted that we've got James from Broadland chairing that for us, a resident at Broadland. And then as the week goes on, even more sessions. Please just go to the TPAS Playshapers website and have a look to book on. You can book on through the TPAS website in particular. We're talking about things with young tenants, with young residents. That's going to be interesting. We've got the in-person session, as I mentioned. The politics of all of this on Wednesday. I suspect that'll be an interesting session again. I suspect we'll be talking again about who's going to pay for this. How long is it going to take? What role do local government have in all of this? So lots going on there. And then Thursday, if you're free on Thursday, we've got a morning and afternoon session that's kind of looking at good practice. We'll be seeing some videos from Playshaper organisations who are at various stages in this journey. We'll be playing those out to you, as well as a Q&A as well with a couple of people from those organisations. All the details are on the website for which one you might want to book on, or book on both. Do what you want. That's absolutely fine. Like I say, they're all free. And we'll end on Friday with a couple of, again, really popular sessions. One in particular around healthy homes. So issues like air quality, ventilation, heating, damp, mould, all of these issues. We've got the Ombudsman coming to talk to us, Ben from the Housing Ombudsman. We've got Lucy coming from the Decent Homes Review, which will be great. So come along and be part of that. And then also finishing around local authority perspective, big challenges for local authorities. And we'll wrap up the whole week with the chair of Playshapers and the chair of TPAS, who will wrap us up on YouTube as well and reflect on some of the highlights of the week. So hope there's plenty there to get involved with. Please do also get involved with the hashtag, which is Net Zero Week. I have to always check that so I don't get shouted at. Make sure you're sharing that on social media as well. It'd be great to see you involved on there. So spread the word, do enjoy. I'm sure me and Rachel will see you as the week unfolds. And in the meantime, have a good day, everybody.